Ever since I learned how to use the internet, I have looked at horror. It has always made me severely uncomfortable, scared, and overall unhappy. Yet, I never stopped doing so, even when I knew how the genre made me feel, and how much I hated being involved with it. Throughout all these years, I have, in a way, looked up to the people who do genuinely enjoy horror, and I wanted to experience this kind of media like they do, but I never could. I first discovered the genre by watching creepypasta videos on YouTube as a kid. There were multiple channels who made this type of content, telling a scary story and including very disturbing pictures to go along with it. I watched one of them, got very scared, but then watched another regardless. I would not be able to sleep, and the next day, while being very aware of the effects and consequences these videos brought, I watched them again. I did this over and over again, and never really questioned it until now. Why did I seek out the thing I hated so much? The thing I knew would give me anxiety and would not make me happy in the slightest. Later on, I discovered horror movies, and I became quite interested in them. However, as I was too afraid to actually watch them, I watched videos about the movies, so that I could learn the story and all the events in the film without actually having to sit through it and get scared. I loved the story of The Babadook, the Saw series and It, but not the terror that came from watching them. And now, as I've gotten more and more into single-player games as time moved on, I seek out the same horror on my PlayStation instead of YouTube. It started with a game including very light horror, but still a general uncomfortable feeling: Bloodborne. I played The Last of Us, a game I found very scary at the time, but I loved it. Finally, I got to my first real horror game, Resident Evil 2 Remake. It was a completely different story. I found myself pausing every 5 seconds, and I hated the suspense from the moment I entered the gas station. However, with walkthroughs, guides, and an extreme amount of fear, I managed to escape Mr. X and beat the game. After that, I did the same for Resident Evil 3. Because the game was so short, I wasn't affected by it as much, but I was still generally terrified. I wrote this script while I was busy playing Resident Evil Village, utilizing all my walkthrough tricks trying not to get scared. And at one point I just decided not to. I played through the game blind after finishing House Beneviento, and it was an amazing experience. I was scared, sure, but in an enjoyable way, and I am left wanting more. I realized something during my playthrough that finally made me understand how there's people that actually enjoy these games. You have to get through the phase where you consume horror media while you hate the feeling of terror you get, and you will hit a point where you start to like it. There was always a reason I came back to the genre. I didn't know what it was, but apparently something in me knew that I would grow to love it, and I did. I have gotten to a point where I can barely imagine playing a single-player game without that scare factor that puts you on the edge while you're playing. Reaching that point of enjoyment, for me, came from the fact that my mind was a lot less immersed in the game than it used to be. In a good way, I mean. Where I like a good stalker enemy because it puts me on edge, but I know it can't really hurt me or do anything to me. I'll enter a dark hallway mostly chill, because I know whatever's in there won't do anything apart from damage me in a game. And that might sound like Mr. Obvious talking, but it is something I really struggled with. All the sounds and visuals and impeccable scenery that goes into making a good horror game create the feeling of actually being in danger. That feeling is only nice to have when you are always aware of the fact you are completely fine, which I haven't been for the longest time. After all these years of avoiding the horror in the horror, I now want to experience all the games I ruined for myself by spoiling them. I want to experience a blind playthrough because I know it would have given me so much enjoyment had I had the mindset I do now. The RPD in Resident Evil 2 and Castle Domitresk in Village are the main ones. Not House Beneviento, though. I'm very glad I didn't play that blind. If you liked this video or found it relatable in any way, please give it a like and give my channel a sub. Because I am such a small creator, every single one of those numbers mean that much more. After all, you can always unsubscribe or dislike the video later if you wish, even though I hope that doesn't happen. For now, I'll say goodbye, see you later, until next time, arrivederci.